Hi, it's Swaggy. I was recently reached out to by PARBLO to review one of their drawing tablets, so here I am making this video. The model they sent me was the Intangbo X7. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Which, as you can see, I'm unboxing in the background, so I will go into each item after this brief intro. Super excited to be doing this. This is my first ever tablet review, so thank you PARBLO for this opportunity. Alright, so let's actually talk about the product itself. First of all, I love the packaging. It's such a cute box and color palette. I really love how it looks. It just feels so cozy. It's so pleasing. I don't know. Like I said before, the model that I was sent was the Intangbo X7. Mine came in a lovely sea green shade, but if that's not your thing, it's also available in a soft pink and a black. This is a screenless tablet, which is what I'm used to using anyway. And it also has a protective film over the drawing area, so make sure you take that off before using it. Now for the pen, it's battery-free, and I find it nice to hold since it's a bit thicker and easier on my hand when drawing for a long time. I guess it just feels less constricted, which is really nice. You can even adjust the settings, which I'll get into in a moment. It even comes with a little stylus pouch. It's super cute, look at it. There are also little pen nibs for when you need to switch them out after a while, because you really don't want to be using the same pen nib for a long time. Okay, next up is the artist glove, which I used to have one forever ago. I just personally stopped using it since it's not really my thing. Plus my hands are rather small, so it never fits me right. But it's really sleek and comfy. It's really nice that they offer one if artists don't already have one, or if someone is choosing PARBLO to begin their digital art journey. Very, very beginner friendly. Now, of course, here's a USB cable to connect your tablet to your computer. This little end goes into the tablet, obviously, and this USB goes into the port. Now, for MacBook users like myself, the set also came with a USB-C adapter, which is super convenient. There's also a cloth for the screen, so even if it's a screenless tablet, it's still good to have something to wipe it with. And of course, you have your instructions. I also want to quickly mention how helpful the team at PARBLO is. I was having some issues installing my driver and I contacted support and they were super kind and helped me out. I'll be talking about the driver again in a moment like I said before, but it's essential to adjust your tablet settings to your preferences. And finally, oh my god, stickers. They were such a pleasant surprise. I ended up putting a few of them on the back of my tablet. Oh, also, I had to record an additional video now in better quality for some reason, I guess, because I realized I forgot to actually show off the buttons. The knob at the top sets your tablet mode to whichever device you're using. It's compatible with PCs, Android phones and tablets, and even Chromebook devices. I have it set on custom because that's what works with MacBooks on my end. And the other buttons can be set to whatever functions you want them to be, like zoom in and out, undo, the hand tool. It's pretty useful to have on hand right next to you, and they can be adjusted in the application that downloads with the driver for the tablet. Okay, now we're gonna get into the driver. As you can see, you can pick what each button does on your pen, you can choose the sensitivity, and even pick the way that you have your tablet rotated where it says work area configuration. I had no idea what that was at first. I recorded a visual as well when I figured it out because I think it's pretty cool, so hopefully it makes sense. It's currently set to 0 degrees, meaning the tablet will be operating this way. If I were to set it to 90 degrees, I flip it over, and now suddenly, this is how it works. You flip it this way. Now, I can also do 180, and then I can flip it this way, and then it's perfectly as it needs to be, or I can also, I need to switch it first. Then I can flip it this way too, and then you can have it with the buttons down here. And yeah, if you are left-handed, you can have the buttons on the right side and just set it to 180 degrees. I think that's pretty cool. I had no idea. Now we're looking at the button selection. You can literally pick nearly anything and just set the commands to each button as you please. Something I wish there was a button for was a redo function, since there is an undo, and I use both the undo and redo religiously. The scroll wheel can have that function, but I do wish there was also just like a redo button, unless I'm really blind, I don't know. But speaking of the scroll wheel, it has several functions besides the undo and redo. Pressing the button in the middle changes the scroller's function, and you can set it in this area too. I primarily used it for my brush size, which was super handy. You can also use it to zoom in and out, go up and down layers, so many more options that you can look into. Okay, now here's me taking the tablet for a quick test run before I tried a full illustration with it. I tried messing around with the buttons on the tablet, and I must admit, I'm so used to not using buttons that I ended up defaulting to what I was used to doing later. I genuinely forgot to use the buttons sometimes, but they were still super useful. I really do think that the buttons are pretty good for a person who draws on PC or any device without a trackpad for zooming in and out of your workspace. I would have loved this so much back in high school when I drew on my school computer for art class and I didn't have my trackpad with me. Something that I also really love about the pen is that it's super great for like color picking. One of the buttons I have on it is set to the color picker, so it's great to have on hand. A tiny critique that I do have though is that for some reason the lines sometimes came out less bold or ever so slightly dull or transparent, even when I played around with the pen sensitivity. I felt that the stability was also slightly higher compared to the tablet that I normally use, but it could be that I just haven't hit the sweet spot settings for my own drawing style. But hey, I mean, that's why the driver is super useful for trial and error. And that's usually the case for trying out any new device really, so I mean, I can't really fault that too much, it's just something I noticed. Overall, I really like it. It's a nice color, the buttons and scrolls on the tablet and pen are super handy, the pen itself is really comfortable to hold, it's just really nice, and it's also budget friendly, so really great beginner tablet. Anyway, enjoy the Speedpaint! I've been on a deltarune bug, so I'm making a possible future print design with the tablet. This was a perfect opportunity for it, so thank you again PARBLO for reaching out and sending me your Intangbo X7. It was wonderful to collaborate with you. If you are interested in the tablet, feel free to check out their stuff and I'll provide a link in the description below. And until next time, enjoy the Speedpaint!